looking then from there at where we're gonna go for funding, what we're gonna do. So then the grants will be written for that, and then as Rich was talking about, creating the RFP or the RFQ and asking for that. Now, obviously, the CT Consultants has worked very well with us, and they've come out a number of times and talked to us and have been very good, so we would like to have them as our consultant, but there's no guarantee with that once we get further into this process. Because it does have to be bid out. So can that help with the flow of that? Does that help with the flow, give you a better idea?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, do you want to address that?
Yeah, on slide 12, some of the key tasks that we've outlined and a timeline of when this could happen. I'm not going to get into the small bullets here, but just there's a blue phase, a red phase, and a black phase, right? So the blue phase is obtaining the funding to actually create the plan, to your point. We're going to have to go find, that between $80,000 to $120,000. One other thing that would be nice in terms of a skill set on that steering committee is fundraising. If you're good at fundraising, or knowing where grant sources are, or you don't have a problem asking people for money, I do, but other people don't, then that's a great skill set to have, because, and there's a couple people who work within Capri and work on the business association side. They think we can raise a lot of money. They think we can tap into some different pockets. They know where those are. I don't know where they are, but they think that we could do some really good things there without having to put a burden on the municipalities. So anyway, so we got to obtain the funding for the plan itself. But that's not even creating the plan. Then we go create the master revitalization plan. And as Rich said, that takes 6 to 9 months, 9 to 10 months, and then we start implementing it once we get approval and we start understanding what the funding. We start executing on that plan, and that plan can look 2 phases, 3 phases, 5 phases. That's all going to be developed through that planning process. And again, there's going to be a lot of community representation, a lot of public meetings, where people take off the restrictions of what the possibilities are. And we say, what would you want to do when money's no factor? We ask for that kind of feedback, and that all of that gets documented. And then we start creating the boundaries around those possibilities to actually craft something that's actually attainable and doable over a long period of time. But I'll tell you what, when we first met with Rich, the one thing that just rose up, and I know there's been some issues in the community or whatever, but the one thing that rose up was hope. That this can be done. This is not a pipe dream. This is actually something that, if we have a plan, now this isn't comprehensive planning, just there's a difference. This is a revitalization plan. If we have a revitalization plan, just having that plan gives us access to funding that we wouldn't normally have if we were just trying to do a point solution here and there. A lot of times these organizations, they want to see that you're thinking big, you're thinking holistically, you've got multiple stakeholders across the community involved and engaged, and once they see that, those pockets start opening up. And so these last slides, we're not going to go through these in detail. This is just some before and after pictures of some towns that CT Consultant has worked with. And for anyone that's been to any of these cities, a lot of us have been up to Slippery Rock. I mean, it's amazing the transformation that's happened with Slippery Rock, just as one example. And it's not just the transformation of the beauty of the town, but also the economic development that's come as a result.
Just as a comment to that, this month's township news that came from the state seriously addresses this as a project, not this specific one, but townships and revitalization and looking at economic development and assigning the responsibilities for that to our supervisors as that safety, health, and benefit of the community. That the supervisors are responsible for safety and health and the community in general, and improving it and seeking economic development for the community.
and the steering committee decides the direction that you're gonna go, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at some of these pictures and it looks to me like they kept the old time facades and some of, you know what I mean? But then I'm thinking of like when they did Washington and I don't know what the whole thing is, but they was trying to run shorties out of there. You know what I mean? You remember that? But
Well, so, Ed, if I can, if I know where you're going, the one thing we don't ever want to lose is the identity of the community.
yeah,
We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we honor the past, that we honor our farming roots, that we honor our hospitality roots, that we honor our educational roots. All of those things are part of the DNA of this entire, Gretna Green roots, all the things
Yeah.
are part of our DNA. We want to honor that. And so, and there's certain design aspects that if that's what the steering committee wants to do, and I'm telling you, Rita and I are part of that, it's going to be part of that, and I think we all believe that,
yeah.
then that will guide the actual concrete decisions of what's going to be done.
And that's the importance of those public meetings as well, 3 different public meetings to
Yeah.
kind of develop all of that. So really there's gonna be, if people in the area are interested and want to voice an opinion, they're gonna have plenty of opportunity to do that.
Truthfully, if we don't start investing in ourselves, no one else will invest in us either. And I don't see any problem with one of us joining, 'cause we're not committed to anything, correct?
No.
We could just see how the process works and then see how we can go and
And
aid in whatever
Yeah.
fashion and then maybe extend it to other areas.
And you want one of us, volunteers, and just,
Yeah, and you don't have to decide that
yeah,
tonight, just whoever you would like to put on there from
Yeah,
the,
someone that would represent Donegal Township's best interests.
and then come back and report to you
Yeah.
as well. And what we want you to think about too is the hope that's there, because it is possibility to do some of these things. And even if we start with Main Street in Claysville and extend that out into the township a little bit, then it's possible for West Alexander in another year to jump on, because we will have already started this process, kind of have our feet wet, and there are a lot of us that are crossovers between Donegal, West Alexander, Claysville. So the whole idea is there to bring that in this direction, if that's what is decided, and then start a new steering committee and kind of move in that direction.
Yeah, we definitely want to connect with West Alec, we want to connect with the fair, we want to connect with all the good things that are happening down here.
But you have to start
We
somewhere.
have to start somewhere.
So thank you
Oh, yeah.
for your time.
If you want me to put you in contact with Nate Wojtek and maybe run interference for you for these blighted properties, I'd be willing to do that.
oh, thank you. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Good
Yeah,
presentation.
And that was a long
Is
presentation, we
somebody's
appreciate your time.
phone number on here or something? or-
My card is cards in
Oh, cards.
And
You can get, yeah,
why don't you give them your phone number and my, or do you want me to give
yeah,
them?
we can both, yeah. if you
Yeah.
want.
Can I just give it to you? My mobile number is 724-255-0222.
0222.
Any of you can call me at any time.
And mine is 724-255-0061.
Mine's BR 54.
We got you, Junior.
Thank you for
Thank you.
having us, I appreciate
Thank
that.
you. Very nice, thank you. Rich, you fan?
Yes.
Yeah, you remember me? That's good to see you.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks, guys, have a good night.
Yeah, take care.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Everybody's good. Okay. All right.
Thanks for the compliment.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. We did public participation, right? Didn't we?
Yep.
Nobody took us up on it. Approval of the minutes from the last meeting, July 15th.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from July 15th.
I'll second.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sharon, did you get what I sent you today? I just noticed that you didn't make some of the changes. Because I did not state that I'm employed by Trent Barton.
You said you worked for him.
I said that I work for the applicant, yes. And then on 11, on M, under new business, after reviewing it, Mr. Shingle's motion lacked a second.
All right,
And then it went by Mr. Teagarden. So
that's
I
in
just,
there.
okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't,
Yeah, I changed some of them, there was a couple I didn't change.
I would still like to see that the easement one changed, that,
Which one?
the E,
Now you want it changed because you said that you
I said I
work,
can't, and I said that I work for the applicant.
and she says you were employed by the applicant.
I said I worked for the applicant.
But Sharon said
And the minutes
employed.
have to reflect what we state, not what she wants to write.
I had to read what everybody stated, I agree.
You never get done.
I'm sorry, that's requirement.
I'll copy this and see if it requires changing, I'll change it.
Is no work the same as
Isn't it all the
employee?
same?
Now, you can do work for somebody and not be employed by them.
Oh, okay.
Well, you're employed by them while you're working for them.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, not if you don't get paid or depending on what the arrangement is.
I'm not an employee of his.
I don't recall exactly where it is, but looking at the minutes, there was a section where, when the board decided to pull the plug on the cameras, Mr. Shingle's comment that I asked to be included in the minutes was that the plugs were being pulled to eliminate the number of right-to-know requests. And I would like that reflected as I asked at the meeting.
That was not my comment.
That was your comment. Absolutely was.
I believe the attorney clarified it by saying right to knows are a legal thing.
Yeah,
We even had discussion about it.
yeah, that was
Well, put
my,
in the minutes that I'm requesting that. If you choose not to do it, then so be it. I'll go accordingly.
okay.
I think the same holds true of Mrs. Ives' request.
Anybody else, any other discussion? Got a motion and a second to approve the minutes from July 15th.
With what changes? With no changes.
I don't think I stipulated any changes, so.
I'd like to make in the minutes that the requests that were made are so noted in the minutes.
Say again.
The requests that were made for the changes be so noted in the minutes that they're not
Well,
included
you
as part
better
of.
be a little more specific then. What is, okay,
Well,
what are the changes that you
She
requested?
had 2 changes and I had 1.
To the best of my knowledge, she only had one change. The other ones were already done.
Were the rest of them complete?
That one, that one. And I think that was, yes.
Okay, then there's 1 for each of us.
Spell them out if you want them in the minutes.
I wanted the minutes, as if, we go back and listen to your tape, you got all kind of recordings of the meeting. And I said, when you said that, I said, I'd like to have that recorded in the minutes.
That's what you want in the minutes now?
Yes, sir.
You want in the minutes that you said you wanted that in the minutes?
You're not gonna change the minutes, I want that in the minutes and I'm requesting that.
Okay. Do you have a request?
I just would like it to say that not that I am employed by Trent Barton, is that I work for the applicant.
Okay. Those 2 items will be noted in the minutes of this meeting. Anybody else?
I don't, what's yours, I don't,
When
what do you want to change?
I asked the question at the meeting in regard to the reason for unplugging the video cameras, and Mr. Shingle's response was to eliminate the right-to-know requests.
That's not my
Well,
response.
what was it then? We can go back and listen to it.
It was to save the cost of the right to know
And
request
it
for the
was
video.
emphasized, I did look at the video. It was emphasized, reason that he said that, he was talking about saving the township
order.
money.
Not a public discussion on it.
Okay. I got a motion and a second. How do you vote?
Tammy,
No.
Kathy,
Yes.
Doug,
No.
Tom,
Yep.
Ed,
Yeah.
3 yes, 2 no, motion carried.
All right. Approval of the treasurer's report dated July 16th through August 19th. All this stuff's up there.
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
I'll second it. Discussion. How do you vote?
Kathy,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Tom,
Yep.
Tammy,
No.
Ed,
Yep. Motion to pay the bills.
Motion and a second on those?
4 yes, 1 no, motion carried.
Need a motion to pay the bills.
I make a motion to pay the bills?
I'll second
Discussion. How do you vote?
Doug,
I'm gonna vote no because I didn't, in 4 minutes to review them. Which never
Tom?
got to them.
it. Yes.
Tammy,
No.
Kathy,
Yes.
Ed,
Yep.
3 yes, 2 no, motion carried.
Department report, code enforcement.
Yeah, during the month of July, we addressed several properties, weeds and high grass, one dumping, which was trash and garbage, solid violation, but we have some stuff I need to address with the board, so I appreciate your patience. It was recently determined that David Williams owns property on Old National. I think you guys are all familiar with this, with what I'm talking about, but he erected a structure there without a building permit. Came to our attention, I stopped, talked to him. In the course of looking into it and addressing it with him, it was determined that, or it appeared that not only was this wall in violation of the UCC, which our building code officials addressing, that it was in our right of way. So not only is it not complying with the setback, but it is within the township's right of way on that road. So I consulted with Mr. Teagard and Mr. Shingle, and went ahead, requested the engineer go out, determine the width of the right of way, determine whether there was an infringement, what impact there would be. He was supposed to address the report to the board. Did you get a copy of that?
Yeah.
Did you guys all see it?
I didn't see it.
Okay, so here's, I have one copy here, you guys can, it's not very big, but it indicates that he is indeed in the right of way. I also spoke to Mr. Hoffrichter, who is in the process or has addressed a letter to Mr. Williams regarding this, asking him to, yeah, if I would have realized I'd make more copies.
That letter went out by regular and certified.
Okay, so a letter has been sent to Mr. Williams. I don't know that he's received it yet, but it's been sent out advising him to just stop any action involving this until the board can make some sort of determination as to how they want to proceed. So the question is, how do we want to address this? I mean, the building code issue is something that's being handled separately. I mean, he's required to have a permit. Since the, did you guys get to see this?
I got one by email.
I got mine in email too.
Yeah. So that's, to me, that's an entirely separate issue. I think the real concern here is he didn't comply with our solid. He's required to submit application. He's required to come to us and to basically, in lay terms, tell us what the plan is so that we can say, hey, the right-of-way there is X, or we have a setback, or, and that hasn't happened. But he has a wall built. According to the building code official, it's within code. Did you get a copy of this, Sharon?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, how does the board want to proceed? Additionally, Mr. Williams has told me that the second part of this project is to erect a building using this wall as basically part of the foundation. So the building that he would erect, which he has not applied for permit to do yet,
Would be on township
Would be-
property.
would be in the right of way as well,
Yeah.
yeah. So.
What's the fine for that, John, you know?
You know, I didn't even look for a fine.
Okay.
I was more concerned with
Yeah, getting it straightened out.
keeping him from spending any more
Right.
money, you know, and stopping him from taking any action, and coming to the board and seeing how you want to proceed with it.
That he'll be served with the papers to stop everything, and if he
There's a letter
goes
sent to
on.
him. I communicated it to him in person. The building code official communicated it to him in a text. And as far as I can tell, he's complied, he's not taking any further
Okay, he's
action.
not taking any.
He's like 4 feet in the right of way or something, or?
It said it's built 26 feet off, and with a 60-foot, that makes it 33,
It's
correct from the center?
26 feet from the center line. The right of way is 66 feet,
So it's
So
33.
it's 33.
33. Yeah.
Is the,
7 feet.
is the new wall closer to the Old National than his house and his porch?
You know, that's been discussed, and it appears to be in line, but without his permission, I can't go and measure it. It's something that it's something I think we should
Past
ask for
practice,
his permission.
yeah, past practice in the township has been, I can name you several instances where if the new structure was in line with the currently built buildings, there have been variances granted for those kinds of things.
Couldn't find a provision for variance on the right of way.
Yeah, the first
Not
one,
disagreeing with you.
the first one that was granted in Donaldson Township was the social hall at the Catholic Church in Claysville.
And it's in the right of way?
It's right on the right of way. Yeah, but it's in line with the church as well. So
Well, I mean, if the board directs,
That was-
I'll
that was-
contact Mr.
I'm
Williams.
just saying that was granted shortly after that ordinance was adopted, and we did it a couple times, one other one over on Old National on the other end of it.
Well, the right of way really isn't covered in the solid.
But that's, the board granted,
We still have the setback issue as well.
I
As far as the
understand,
right,
but, yeah.
as far as the right of way goes, I mean, if the board directs, I'll contact Mr. Williams.
Did
I'll see if he'll
the,
give me permission to go onto his property and get approximates and
did the engineer have any opinion on as, it's not gonna hurt the road? it's not-
I asked him, I believe I copied you guys on the email I sent to him. I asked him for paraphrasing, impact,
Yeah,
and he noted none. He noted none.
okay.
So, do we want to just stick to this and then move to the next thing, or?
Let's let everybody roll it around, go ahead and move to the next thing.
Okay, so the next thing, yeah, no problem. The
I'll
next
grant
thing,
you permission.
it's Mr. Williams, I didn't want to call you out.
Oh.
That's fine.
So, letter, okay.
It'd be nice to resolve it.
Understand, sir. Okay, it's not that, the weight limit study, the Donville Road weight limit study, this falls under ordinance. We can't enforce our bonding and permitting issues and that sort of thing without this study. It expires. It's only good for 10 years. It was done in March of 2010. It expires in 2020. In brief conversations with the engineer, and I believe you had had some unrelated conversations about it, you said it shouldn't be a major undertaking, but I'd like your permission to go ahead to the engineer, start getting some prices, and see what we have to do to get started on it. I don't imagine they're gonna be wanting to go out, if they have to do a core sample, they're not gonna wanna do it in February. So I'd like your permission to get moving on that. That's not really ordinance related. PennDOT, that's not either. It's discussed in, okay, the last thing, this could be in this, or this could not be in this. The 15-mile-an-hour signs on Highland Avenue. We either need to do a traffic study and look into reducing the speed limit there, or remove those signs and replace them with appropriate signs of 25 miles an hour. It's been discussed in the meetings before that those signs are up there, but there's been no ordinance to regulate that, and they're not enforceable at that speed. I was hoping that the 15-mile-an-hour signs might slow folks down, so I really wasn't pushing it. But according to the residents, it's not really working, and I think they don't really believe me about that it's really 25 miles an hour. So we need to post it appropriately, either reduce the speed or put the appropriate signage up. And that would be it under ordinance, yes, ma'am.
So how do we make it over 15 mile an hour then, if we wanted to do the
You'd have to do a traffic study.
traffic?
I thought that 15 miles per hour was reserved for. Jay, could you help us out on that, school zones?
Yeah, anything you do, you have to have a traffic and engineering
Yeah, but
study.
can you drop down to 15 miles an hour? I don't think. No.
It's 25 miles an hour through the rest of the town. I don't see
Yeah.
why 25.
Well,
And
I
it's
tell you,
not posted by statute.
I spend a lot of time watching that traffic, and probably got the same calls that you have on it. I think, I can see every car comes down, not every car, but a lot of that traffic is on the interstates, it's on Island Avenue. When they hit that, when they see that 15 mile per hour speed limit sign, they do slow down. And whether they slow down only for a few feet and pick back up again, I don't know. But that sign was within 20 feet of my porch, and I watch it.
The problem is we're having residents complaining
So I
that,
understand.
yeah.
And I got the same calls, and I'm gonna ask that the police president, I know that you picked up the enforcement out there, I'd like to see it continue and more vigorously, in fact.
Well, we're pretty much at saturation. We'll do what we can. I mean, it's a big township.
Understood. But when you have, and I don't know how many cars an hour, 200 cars an hour, when traffic's on my street, it's, and a lot of young kids.
Well, let's just stick with West Alexander. It's on, that same traffic is on Maple. It's on Main Street. I mean, they're coming up Morgan Hill. We're getting them coming up here. I mean,
Part of the problem, I think, Doug, with the 15 is it's almost not enforceable.
It's not enforceable.
15 is not enforceable.
No.
They almost can't enforce any speed because it's not posted properly.
Yeah.
They can't enforce 25 miles. They shouldn't be doing any enforcement on Island Avenue because it's incorrectly posted.
Be a lot cheaper and a lot less expensive and a lot quicker just to post the right 25-mile-an-hour speed
Yeah.
limit signs than do traffic study, time, and in the interest of saving time and saving money.
You probably
Post it
still have
properly
to,
so
you
it's
probably still have to
enforceable.
have the traffic study, don't you?
No,
No.
it's 25 by law, 25 by law.
statute
Statute
provides
says
for, 25, 35, and 55.
Okay.
So that's it under the code enforcement stuff, yeah.
All right. First, I'll make a motion, let the chief get with the engineer and update the traffic or the road study.
The weight.
Yeah, the road study. Road weight study.
I'll have to get a price, I'll second.
Yeah, I'll get everything ready, won't commit to anything,
Yeah.
you guys have to come to it, so.
Your second?
Yes.
Motion and a second. Discussion?
Is that gonna be according to the publication 221? 'Cause
The last one was, yes, ma'am, it'll be identical to the last one.
Anybody else? How do you vote?
Kathy,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Tom,
Yep.
Tammy,
Yes.
Ed,
Yep.
5 yes, motion carried.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to put the 25 mile an hour signs up on Highland.
I'll second it. Discussion. How do you vote?
Still.
Tom,
Yep.
Doug,
Yeah.
Kathy,
Yes.
Tammy,
Yes.
Ed,
Yep.
5 yes, motion carried.
Okay.
Do we go back to Mr. Williams? Are we gonna go back to Mr. Williams?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think that since he's,
Here's what I'm thinking.
I was thinking,
Yeah.
you know, because you said for him to go back out, have him go out, measure, see where it's at?
Well, what I was thinking was, could we make a motion to grant him a variance for the wall that is there? And he has to obey the rules of, from here on out. The engineer said there was no impact. I'm not out for blood, but
I think it depends on whether or not how it lines up with the porch or the house. And it's just following the past practice that we've done many times. I mean, I would be okay with it if that was the case.
Would you want me to bring it back to the board, or would you just want to, would you want to just say as long as it's generally okay, it's, I mean, it's up to you guys. You guys are acting as the planning board as well, so.
Sir, can you tell me how close that wall is to being in line with your porch or your house?
Pretty much right, it's pretty much even. Yeah, because the houses themselves, they've been there for.
Right, long,
Yeah.
yeah, a long time.
Yeah. And what I'm planning is, the building will not be built
yeah.
right on top of the wall. It'll be inset.
Say, I couldn't hear a word you said.
The building won't be built on, you know, the edge of the wall. I'm gonna inset it back further away from the road when I build the building itself.
Yeah, at least 7 feet further back.
Yeah.
But only with a variance, because there's still setback after the edge of that right of way.
That was my question, is it 7 feet or is there a setback? Because
No,
sometimes
it's,
it varies.
yeah, so there, you have two things going on here. You have the right of way,
Correct,
and then you have a setback,
correct,
which is from the right of way.
correct.
So technically, I don't remember, I think it's supposed to be 50 or 60 feet on that road.
From the center of the road to the actual
No,
setback.
from the right of